Welcome to another episode of the Heroes Peak podcast. As always, I am your host, Chris. Me over here. You can't see me talk. Together with me, as many times as I can get them together, we have your co-host here. We have James over here to my left. James.
Hey guys.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm
Mike.
eating dinner, late dinner.
Yeah. Eat, man. Mike.
Hey guys.
Way at the
How are you doing?
bottom is Keith. Can't see him right now. And Brooks. How you doing, Brooks?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm okay. I brought my friend with me today. He's gonna help me co-host too.
Who is that?
Gargoyle. It's my gargoyle. He keeps all the spirits away.
Is that a baby Yoda?
It's the original baby Yoda. This is how they're born. They're like solid rock. It hurts
Yoda
somebody with that.
Mogwai.
Yeah, don't show him any sunlight. All right. So today we have a couple of topics for everybody, as always. We are going to start with the news. The Snyder Cut is going to be released to the world. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. The Snyder Cut is being created and then is going to be released to the world on HBO Max, not HBO Go, not HBO something or else. HBO Max in 2021. What, summer? They said maybe summer 2021.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
We got a $20 million budget, I think, right?
20 to 30 million dollars. So, but everything's speculation right now. So AT&T apparently decided the enough was enough and was able to grab some cash, give it to Mr. Snyder and a bunch of post-production guys who are now people getting money for a job. That's good for them. To create a new cut of the not as well received as they would have liked Justice League film that from 2017, I believe.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was right before Infinity War. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Crazy, right? So 4 years later, we're gonna get a second cut. Now, second cuts of movies are not the most rare thing. I mean, we got a Donner cut of Superman 2. Was it 2? 1, 2?
Yeah, Superman 2.
Superman 2.
One
And
with Zod.
oh, yep. And then I always call it the wrong name. Robot's Dream of Electric Sheep.
The what?
The book by Philip K. Dick. It became a movie.
Oh, iRobot? No.
No.
Oh.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Oh,
Blade Runner.
right. Okay.
So Blade Runner famously has like 4 cuts,
Yeah, at least.
but all of those are basically the same movie with some slight editing differences, maybe a scene in there or something. This is completely new. This is, as far as I hear, is a completely new movie.
It's a whole new movie.
I mean, what?
And what does that mean? What?
What's amazing is the whole Snyder Cut. Let's start from the
Is
beginning.
this one gonna be good?
The fans, ever since the movie came out and it did poorly, people are saying, well, this wasn't the original Zack Snyder cut. Josh Whedon came in and did surgery and gave us this. So Snyder himself said, hey, you're right. We did do a cut at the time, and I never finished it. I had personal issues. I pulled out of the project.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a Snyder cut. So he started the flame, that became this huge fire. So the fact that he's being paid $20 million now to go back and finish the project, but somehow it's a brand new project to me.
Because all they're gonna do is just get people to repurchase the movie. So
Well, they don't even need to.
No, they don't.
Right.
The fans that wanted the Snyder cut was so overwhelming to the toxic fandoms out there that AT&T said, you know what? Forget you Warner Brothers CEOs. We're going to give the people what they want. They want the Snyder cut. Snyder, do you have the Snyder cut? Well, maybe. Fine. I'll give you extra money to finish it.
Just
Release
make
it
something.
to the public.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
'cause
like you're saying, if it's like if it's like pretty much a new product, let's say, like if it is going to make it feel like a new product, then really it's like people are going to consume it like it's a new movie. So that $20 million doesn't really sound too large. Like it's like, okay, it's a new movie.
Yeah,
Well,
unless
I
he
mean-
had something in the can that Josh Whedon decides, I'm not going to use that. Because apparently the Snyder Cut had footage of Darkseid and Green Lantern, footage that wasn't, edited in the final.
Well, as far as I can tell, do you guys remember the beginning, the major battle with all of the old gods and what's his name?
Steppenwolf?
Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
Apparently, that was supposed to be Darkseid or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's not much of a difference. That's just training who beats who, and they run away. I mean, what am I getting out of this story-wise that's different? Is it just that, okay, Aquaman runs him through? I mean, that's not a new movie.
This is where nerds and geeks become their own enemies. They've been screaming for this Snyder Cut for so long. In their minds, they have some sort of fantastical version that's better than what we got. And here comes Zack Snyder, gonna eat up that 20 million, 30 million. He's probably gonna hire Chris Terrio, same guy who gave us the other Aquaman, pay him the same amount of money again, and we'll have another podcast next year saying, "Wow, we're disappointed yet again."
Well, because we got the Snyder cut of Man of Steel, and we got the Snyder cut of
Whoa,
BVS.
No, it was BVS.
No, both of them. As in, nobody else was doing it. Snyder was in charge of both Man of Steel and BVS. So we got the Snyder cut,
Right.
and they both failed to produce the kind of audience
I'm on a call,
draw that Warner Brothers was looking for, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, you're going to get a bunch of people sign up for HBO Max, which is all AT&T cares about. But as soon as they said it was going to happen, I started seeing fans go, "Oh my God, this means Snyder's definitely going to get them to make his Justice League 2, and we're going to get Henry Cavill's coming back." That's our other news. Henry Cavill's coming back, which means Snyder's taking over DC. Look out, Marvel. What are you going to do about this? And it's like, come on. Marvel has moved past your phase. You can't barely get your asses started.
They lapped them twice.
Well,
Right.
I mean, Affleck is
On your
done.
left, DC, on your left.
Affleck is done, right? You got Pattinson coming in. So how are they going to do? I know it's a big pipe dream of the fanboys for Justice League 2, but Ben's not coming back. Pattinson can't take his place.
We're not even sure if Ezra Miller's coming back as Flash in
Yeah.
the latest public scandal that he got.
He might be
himself
going to
in.
jail for assault charges for all we know.
Yeah, that was silly, but it doesn't matter. He was a terrible. Can we just say he was a terrible runner?
Yeah,
And
worse.
Yeah.
someone do something about it. Go work with a
They
sprinter.
showed
or
that video, and high school track team says this is not what we want.
So, yeah, that's where that is.
Yeah. So Brooks,
know
what are
you're
your
really-
thoughts, Brooks? I'm curious about
I
Brooks'
was gonna
thoughts on
ask.
this. Sorry, Chris.
I just had to Google what all of this means.
Had to look up the nerd dictionary.
Yeah. I did. So I don't really have a lot of thoughts on it. I'm just, if any of these movies come out in the theater and we're allowed to go out, James, I hope to go with your family as per usual and bother your son about what's happening. Other than that, those are my thoughts.
All right.
All I can think of as a way to ask Brooks about it would be if they started Fast 9 and then Fast 9 got canceled like halfway through, and then some other director came in and created something you didn't like within that universe. Would you, as a fan, just be able to brush off a bad movie that you would normally like? Or would you go, hey, we didn't get the original one, we should get a recut? I mean, that's the only way I could put it.
Yeah, no, I understand now. Actually, thank you. That was
Here's the other part. So then, in the middle between Fast 9 and a new movie, The Rock and Vin Diesel weren't at it. They're like, you know what? I'm done. So The Rock says I'm going to do my own thing. But now this new cut is that they're going to bring back The Rock and Vin Diesel, who clearly do not like each other, and somehow it's going to be magic still in this new Fast and Furious movie.
I mean, I'm a fan, so I'm gonna watch, but I'm gonna hate every second of it.
I can see that. That's a good way to put it. I mean, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna watch it, and we're gonna hope that we don't hate every second of it, but we have pretty low expectations. At least I do. I'm assuming you guys have low expectations as well.
You know where I stand.
All right. So yeah, Henry Cavill is in talks to return as Superman, which I've liked Henry Cavill, even if I didn't.
Yeah, he seems very Superman-y.
Yeah, I've probably the lowest view of the three geeks here on Man of Steel, but I still like him as Superman. So I have no issue with him coming back doing a number 2.
That's still one of my best DC film universe movies. That and Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. So question: so have you guys who here has seen Shazam?
I've seen it.
Okay. Do you remember at the end when the Superman shows up, but he's only like cut off at the head?
At the head, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think of that? Do you think that was dumb, cheesy?
I thought it was dumb.
It was the whole movie was cheesy to me, but like
right. So it kind of fit in the movie theme.
Yeah, it fit. It fit with the general corniness of the movie.
Okay.
So
I would have enjoyed it better if they actually showed him full suit walking in to get the full wow factor, not just the legs and hip and upper torso. Because then it's just like, why did he even bother? Like, you're not hitting me with the wow factor.
But with the mustache, he should have had a mustache.
It's Warner Brothers' fault. They thought their Mission Impossible movie was more important than the Justice League movie. That tells you a lot. They're like, I'd rather have his mustache with Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible that looks more realistic than this fake CGI fest for the comic nerds. You know.
Brooks, what's your view on the Mission Impossible movies?
I didn't watch them.
Really? Because they seem to be more up the alley of the general action adventure.
Wow, that surprises me. Like I feel like that's actually like that's in line with
what I would more watch.
Yeah.
I think I watched the first one whenever that came out a really long time ago, and I just never caught any of the other ones.
All right.
Here's what I think, Brooks, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think you look at the Fast and Furious as like, they got the diverse crew with the funny one-liners, the action shots, the craziness, the explosions. Whereas Mission Impossible seems a little more sophisticated. It's a little more drama, like something you would watch on TNT, HBO, and then all of a sudden it might be an action scene. Tom Cruise. The crew isn't as diverse. There's no funny one-liners. Doesn't really get you the way Fast and Furious gets you.
That's true, unless you're calling me unsophisticated, and then
I did not say that.
I feel like lightweight. I feel like lightweight.
I feel like you did, right?
Yeah, I did not say that.
It did lightly sound like that.
Too much British component. Nah, that's James Bond.
I don't know. I think movies catch me. I mean, Fast and the Furious is one that I'm always going to go see. I'm going to see when it opens. That's just kind of my thing. But a lot of movies just don't. It's not that they don't catch me. It's like if I don't have anybody to go to the movies with, then I'm just not going to see it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like all of the Marvel ones, like I go with you guys, and that's fun, and it's more of like a whole group thing. But it's not like I can't go to this movie. And that's the thing with like a Mission Impossible. Like.
You know the thing about Fast and Furious? No matter what's happening in that movie, there's always a street scene. They're in the streets.
Yeah.
L.A., Brazil. Whereas Mission Impossible, it's like high-tech data center, some hotel here, a jet plane there. Like I per se don't connect with it from a point of view where like, all right, I'm turning my brain off here. I'm enjoying the shit out of this. That makes no sense. Whereas Mission Impossible, the other side of my brain is operating like, wait a minute, how's he hacking that? That makes no sense. The generator ain't kicking yet? Nah. It's like, it turns me off a little bit. I enjoy Tom Cruise, though. I enjoy everything that he's doing in those movies. I enjoy his running. I enjoy the way he pretends to beat people that 3 times his size that outweigh him, like
Man.
Henry Cavill.
He's my favorite action hero.
Like that fight scene with him in the last Mission Impossible. I'm like, this is just so unbelievable.
I think Tom Cruise is shorter than I am, if I'm not mistaken. He's like 5'8", 5'7".
No, I think he's like 5'5" or 5'6". I think he's pretty short.
So he's like Robert Downey
He makes
Jr.
action hero. He makes action heroes so attainable.
Right? If you see him, Jackie Chan, and Robert Downey Jr. like standing next to each other, all the short guys
I
are
could
like,
be great too.
yeah, I can do that. And then you get beat up the next day for out of your weight class.
Stay your lane, short guy.
See, it's the Steph Curry effect.
Oh,
He's like
He's like
He's not.
6'5".
that guy's not a mutant. I can do what he does. He's not freakishly tall.
All right. So why don't we talk? We're going to start with. I'm going to skip over our Justice League Apokolips. We'll talk about that after, since I have Brooks and Keith here. You guys put on our agenda Instagram artist and DJ battles, and I have no idea what that is about.
Finally, something I know and you don't.
Oh, there's a lot of that. I'm not.
At least as a topic.
All right.
Keith, do you want to start? Do you want to go?
Wait, what are we talking about?
all right. Here's what we're talking about: how Instagram, and I don't know really if it was because of D Nice, the DJ from the late '80s, early '90s, but this whole Versus thing came out. I think it's probably more Switz Beats and Timbaland. You guys remember the super producers of the early 2000s, still active, still very active in some cases. During the pandemic that we're all going in, we're stuck at home, and some of us are really into social media. Other of us have jobs. We don't have that much time. But regardless of that, on Saturday nights, you hear this Instagram DJ battle. It's happening between, it could be Led Zeppelin versus AC/DC, which is not what we've been listening to recently.
That I would understand.
Yeah, but something like that. So it started off like, I think, campy. I forgot who was the original 2 versus battles. But then it ramped up to Teddy Riley. I think Teddy Riley and Babyface was when it really started making hits on the internet. So Teddy Riley.
No, what you call it was before that.
Who was before that?
RZA and
thank you. The second one
that
was
the first.
the
That was the
RZA
first one.
from Wu-Tang
And
versus DJ Premier,
DJ Premier.
DJ
Yeah.
Premier.
who was a very hot DJ and producer in the 90s with Notorious B.I.G., Nas, a lot of the East Coast guys, a few of the guys down south, but mostly the East Coast. Everything you heard in rap, some of the classic hits in the 90s was DJ Premier. Whereas the RZA connected directly with Wu-Tang and other beats that I didn't know that he was responsible for. So those two guys went at it, and they're each in the living room, Instagram Live, and they picked, like, I think 10 songs at the time, 10 and 10, or maybe it was 15. It wasn't 20 yet. So they went through.
It felt like they were on for hours.
For hours. Some technical difficulties here, not that, it wasn't that bad. So people got on it. They got up to at least like 400 or 500 people watching them live. Then came the Teddy Riley one and Babyface, which I didn't quite get why they were battling, because Babyface to me was like an R&B genre that was more like soft and sensual and like laid back mentality, whereas Teddy Riley was in the early 90s, New Jack Swing, like Belle Biv DeVoe, Boys to Men. He had a lot of those songs, so that was more upbeat, more. So to me, it didn't make any sense. But the reason why that battle was so famous is because of the technical difficulties that Teddy Riley was having. Like, imagine if Chris right now was doing the podcast from like the back of his truck in a car with a hotspot Verizon, and he was trying to get this whole thing going. It looked like that. It looked like it was too much happening for Teddy Riley. Like, he had poor Wi-Fi. He had a random guy dancing in the background to no beat. It just looked terrible. Meanwhile, Babyface was just like,
That sounds like
Nah,
Nelly's service.
Teddy was the worst. Teddy was the
Ellie's was
worst.
pretty bad too.
Yeah, it was like
Like an
too
ep-
much was happening.
Like
There
an
was like
episode.
large screen monitors behind him that wasn't showing anything. Like it's like ESPN Sports Zone.
It was like an episode of What's Up with That.
What's up with that? Yes, he had like 2-3 guys dancing, and there was no beat there. Like, what's going on? Like, so that became the first time it really hit the social web. So everybody was like, "Oh, what's the next one? What's the next one?" And then the next one was Brooks, help me out here. What came after the Teddy Riley one?
Was it the Erykah Badu, Jill Scott one?
Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, which I thought was definitely props for their Wi-Fi technical stuff. It was there. She had a screen actually playing something behind her. She was playing Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee.
Yep.
Which would show that she was business. She came in to operate her, go through her catalogs, even play unreleased cuts of some of her albums. So that went pretty well. And I think recently the big one was obviously the one that happened with the for those of you who listen to Reggae Dance Hall, it was Beanie Man and Bounty Killer, two of the most famous reggae artists in the 90s through early 2000s. I see Mike is finally shaking his head. The dancehall movement, and what they did that was different because they were in Jamaica, is they actually were in the same room with their own DJs behind them, and they play their catalogs of music side by side, and were more energetic than any of the shows we've seen before. So imagine Axl Rose and
so great.
and whoever else you want to put them against, side by side, and mics, and playing like 90 seconds, because they're going to do 90 seconds of each song, legal rights, it's still social media. And then the other artists would come in their face and sing their song. Then they're pause for a while because they're the energy is flowing, but it was never violent. It was never felt like they're going to go at each other's throats. At one point, cops came in the middle of their show, like I don't know how loud it was, and wherever they were, their studio. So Beanie Man goes, "You really going to do this right now, officer? I got 500,000 people watching."
There was like 1 million or more people watching that.
No, it was 500,000.
It was about 500,000.
So
So I don't know how the dialogue ended at the end, but obviously the cops left, and then the DJs restarted the music, and it went off, man. It was great stuff.
All right, stupid trivia of the day. Axl Rose has the highest vocal range of any rock vocalist.
Wait, higher than Steve Tyler?
Yeah,
I can see that.
he does, and I think he's one of the top 5 active musicians outside of Mariah Carey.
Dude, I've heard Steve Tyler scream like he's got no
he
testicles.
screams. He
screams, but no, Axl Rose has a huge
Axl can
range.
hit that high note. He
Alright,
can hit that high note.
He's got crazy vocal talent.
Yeah, they should do a versus battle.
That would be great.
Yeah, whatever.
That's what I'm wondering.
Mariah Carey.
Hey, what did it keep saying?
No, I said Mariah Carey and Axl Rose.
Oh, nah.
Oh man,
You're gonna see millions of phones breaking.
They can only sing each other's songs though.
I wonder if they would ever do a rock and roll one.
They should.
Why not?
That Beanie. I mean, they could actually. I feel like a rock and roll one would be good, and it could come off like the Beanie and what you call it one, Beanie and Bounty Killer.
Yeah, because they're side by side.
But there's a reason why
music.
that looks so smooth already. That was a sound clash. Jamaican artists do that all the time. They have sound clashes all the time. It was perfect for the digital space. That joint. I feel like they doing something that was super regular.
Yeah, for them.
For them.
Yeah.
They feel very comfortable, as they would say.
Sound clash. That's a big thing. DJs do that. Sound like rival artists do that. They just you clash.
Mike, who would you want to see go head to head like that?
I'm still rooting for after that one. I'm still rooting for Sean Paul, Elephant Man.
Oh, another dance hall. They will definitely be more energetic
than party.
Yeah. I do want to see the rock and roll one. Just don't give me any more R&B. Don't give me no more R&B groups. I didn't see the Jaheim one that just came out on Monday. Jaheim versus
I don't think anyone did.
Who was it? Oh, 112? I was like, oh my God.
No,
Scratch my wrist.
Jagged Edge. Jagged
Oh,
Edge.
Jagged Edge. Yeah, nobody
112.
was. I knew. I wasn't. I really wasn't even geeked to see that. I didn't really know anybody else who was either.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, Mike, who would you want to
They
see?
should have canceled that one.
Oh, I don't even know. I'd have to go through my
Catalog.
playlist and see. I can't think of
Sarah McLachlan and
Alanis Morissette versus
Along the same wave,
Nate O'Connor.
I would also like to see Missy Elliott versus Busta.
Oh yes, I would pay good money for that.
Super Bowl.
Yeah,
And I
that
need to
commercial.
see it like Beanie and Bounty.
Oh, that would actually-
that would be a performance that I
Dude.
feel like.
You know what? Go ahead, Keith. I got an idea. I'm noodling on this one. You know how right now they're talking about bringing sports back, but like keep it bubbled at Disney, wherever it is, with just the players, but like no audiences. Their halftime shows can be one of these events. They can be a Busta versus Missy at halftime, courtesy of Instagram, sponsored by Instagram and Mountain Dew and whatnot.
And what force?
And to see the ending
That's
of the
great idea.
and for you to see the ending of the contest, you gotta log on. You gotta go log on to your social media to see the final two songs. Go at it.
Hey James. Welcome to the world I was creating.
Yeah.
Oh, I fell into Keith's bizarre universe. Holy shit!
See how seamless that is?
Yeah.
You see how seamless it is?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because of how Keith talks about this a lot, of how this is kind of like the new like.
Yeah, they know. Chris and Mike know.
It's the natural progression. Or unnatural, or whatever you want to call it, but like there's no backward steps.
Right.
There's no backward steps. This joint lasts there's like a year plus till a vaccine, more than that until everyone really gets it.
Did you guys see the open letter from Dave Grohl about live music?
No. What was it?
Oh, basically he wrote I don't know, it was a post or letter or whatever about how much he missed and how much he knows other people miss live music and that they'll definitely come back. But it was a really cool, Dave Grohl is one of those musicians who really connects with fans and is always doing great stuff like that. And let me find the link for you. I'll post it in the chat. But it was one of those, artist gives a love letter to fans kind of thing. And I know, as Keith has put it, the future's changing and we're going to get a lot more non-live stuff. But I think
damn it, Keith.
there's still going to be some live.
It's going to be live. Stuff. It's just how you interact with it. I'm just saying that, or the options for you to be able to interact with it. Imagine, just even this from a business standpoint. Now, a basketball game, let's say, Madison Square Garden fits 20,000 people. With one 360 degree, like say I sacrifice one floor seat, and put a 360 degree camera that you can experience the game like you're there. How many times can I sell that one seat?
A million times. Yeah, absolutely.
A bazillion times. Everybody is experiencing it from that same seat. Floor seat. You see LeBron sweat.
The NBA was actually working the technology to have 3D cameras at certain seats, and then you could pay. Well, originally it's for the international fans. I feel like they're at the stadium, they don't have access. But I think they're looking to expand it to instead of you getting NBA Live, you get NBA Premium, and then you have a signed seat as if you were there, and you're watching 360 the entire game.
And dude, you can walk around, you can look around, you can. As the technology evolves, you can interact with other digitally watching patrons.
Yeah,
it's. I'm telling you. it's just not going backwards, yo. It's just not going back.
I think you're gonna mix that. I think if they're smart, they're gonna start mixing that stuff in. I mean, you're not gonna close the garden. But,
exactly. It's a steady mixing. It then becomes the experience of the garden now. Like those tickets become way more valuable. Or at the very least, like I can sell, like imagine I could sell a million more floor seat tickets for a tenth of the price of physically being on one of those floor seats.
Okay, so I'm gonna mix and match two things we've talked about. So you're talking about a 3D view of the garden, floor seat, center court kind of thing, right? So the camera doesn't move, you move. Now, in order to take full advantage of that, you go to your ESPN theater and you're in, San Francisco, and you want to go to the garden, you go to your theater, which has a huge screen, maybe a wrap screen, an IMAX screen, and you get that view and you pay $20. You sit down and you watch your game with a group of fans like you're there, but then you have this big 360, your big 180 view where you can turn your head and watch the action the whole time. So you're getting kind of a mix and match of a live experience and a group experience, but you're in a completely different place. So I'm not going to a movie.
And look, and now you're brainstorming it. Now you're understanding it. Like now you're accepting it. Like
I like the mix and match of it.
Like this is just the progression. This is the natural progression.
I mean, I would pay $20 to go to Soldier Field, a couple of times a year, but in actuality, I'm sitting at the theater down the street with a group of fans who are fans of both teams. So, you're having that same fan interaction because you're screaming and you're yelling at the field. I mean,
see, that's the one thing, and Keith and I, we talk about, we're never going to, as humans, it's a human condition to always want to feel connected to someone else physically. So we're never going to be 100% online with all forms of media and entertainment. There's going to be the need at some point for us to be in the same room to experience the same thing and get each other's reactions. It may not be the way it was before, COVID-19. Maybe something, a hybrid of that. It may be maybe close to 90% of what we've been talking about. Everything, even working from home. Everyone's working from a remote spot or whatever. You won't no longer interacting with somebody physically. But I think there's always going to be that percentage of us of items where we're still going to be physically connected, and it's going to want to be physically connected. People are going to pay money to be physically connected. Like your idea, Chris, of not being at the stadium with 3,000 people, but being with maybe 30 people. You guys are paying premium numbers. And then seeing, your guy hits the shot, you high five the next, social distancing, the next person, whatever. We're always going to have that. It's in our human nature. It's never going to go 100% the way that Keith
it's not going to go 100. Those seats are still going to be there. I'm just saying, for instance, dude, I bet you dime to dollar, Trump loses this thing, it's going to be hillbilly static, popping off in different parts of this country. I don't foresee anything like civil war, nothing like that. But it's going to be some idiots that's upset and popping off, hands down. I guarantee that right now. Yeah. But bigger than that. That compounds with a lot of the stuff that's already been going on, more of the violence, school shootings. Like this whole coronavirus time has been the first, because of the shutdown, it's been the first time without a month without school shootings for I think 10 years or 3 years or some stupidness like that.
Crazy, yeah.
It's crazy. But those things are fears. Those are fears that don't go away. And as the world shifts into that and people get more comfortable accessing the outside world from inside, the safety part of that is going to come into play.
Yeah, I think you have to if you set up the technology,
especially for your middle American mom.
Right. When you can't go, it's going to be there when you can, and you're going to find different uses of it. I mean, it's like having one stadium and they put ice on it to make the rink, and then they put grass on it to make a football field, and they just change it around to whatever they need to use it for. I think once the technology is in place to have a 3D camera at the stadium, okay, now pick the 10 uses where you're going to make money at it, and they're all out there. And it's just kind of pushing us along, you know?
Yeah, especially like during playoffs, you know, if you're like,
Who can afford payoff ticket seats?
right.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. If your team is in the playoffs, you can go to you could even like, now there's a lot of times where you can go to the stadium and watch the game, but it's not a great experience. This would make it like such a better experience. You get more money for the tickets, more people.
Yeah, I'd rather go to the theater than to the bar to see, you know, because I might get a
Total
decent
turnkey.
seat. I might not get a decent seat at the bar. Give me a theater with a 100-foot screen.
Dude,
Yeah.
they can pump into crowd sounds. You can almost feel like we do PlayStation VR, as if you're there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. That's the experience I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's a better experience rather than being in Buffalo in December or something.
No, they can also pump into cold too. Turn the temperature down
Geez,
to
that's right.
62. You feel like
And
you're
really,
there.
it could be all subscription based. You buy a season pass.
Mhm. Oh yeah. Look at this. We're making money for them already.
I know,
I know.
man.
They just
They
need to
already took our
subscribe.
Oh, is
idea
this
about
recorded?
freaking AMC and
Hey,
Spider-Verse.
yeah, the Spider-Verse
But
one,
long
man,
story
that's money.
short, I feel like people are catching on and like seeing like the future is very much now.
All right. Whew. We always get to these big money makers here and there. Where was
Yeah,
I?
the only thing I'm going to add to it is that I don't think it's 3D streaming we're looking at, but VR streaming is the future, not 3D.
Well, let's explain. I want to make sure that I understand it right.
Okay, so the VR camera is so it's a 360 camera,
Mhm.
right? But it sounds like you guys are talking about 3D cameras where you put on. It looks like you're watching a 3D movie or something. You put on glasses so you can see a 3D image. But I think the future is going to be more of a 360 camera with a VR headset.
Yes. Okay.
That you're like sitting in the arena and you can look around.
That's more what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's more what when I said the NBO was researching that's what they were researching.
VR.
We kind of took it to the point where it could be a group of us in an environment sitting together, and then Chris put the large
Like
screen.
I know a person personally who is working on that technology right now, and actually trying to create like TV shows around it.
Yeah.
Well, that's two different ideas. So what I was talking about was more of a group experience in a wide angle, better screen for that. A 3D interactive environment, put the headset on, walk around the stadium while the game's going on, like you go to the fridge and it's like you went to the stands to get a beer, and then you walk back to your seat and you're in the stadium if you really want. But
That's future.
That
That's future
technology is that's way off.
Yeah,
right now, the best.
Yeah, like that's a holodeck.
I believe
that's a drone in the arena.
Holodeck.
Well, I believe if you was it the NFL's website online where you could choose camera views. I think it was Thursday Night Football, the ones nobody ever watches. They allowed you to choose like up to 3 camera views. But the problem with that is it's like I'm not a producer. So like I could be looking at the all 24 and then I miss the big play that I wanted to see and I need to rewind and I want to there's a certain thing that there's professionals out there trying to give you the best experience for your entertainment. And sometimes taking away the regular person assumes that's not a hard job. And it's a lot harder than they
That's
think.
a good point, yeah.
So a thing about that kind of experience is, okay, at what point am I playing around? Oh, I'm in the stadium, so I'm going to look around. Oh, shit, what happened? This crowd just went nuts. So there's two different kinds of experiences where, yes, I want to walk around the stadium, but if I want to watch the game, is 3D headset on my face really the best experience for that? Or is that more of a, hey, you want to visit the stadium before and after the game? Put this headset on and walk a virtual tour of the stadium and meet the players and all of that stuff. But that's a completely different conversation. It's still using the same technology.
You're still talking, difference between a pre-recorded VR environment and a live stream. Right now, the only technology we have for any kind of VR live streaming would be a stationary camera on a seat. And the only thing you could do is sit in that seat and look around.
Look around, yeah.
Okay, so
you're not getting up to go anywhere.
All right, we're gonna go next.
Yeah,
we're gonna go.
That's what I assume.
Yeah.
We're going next level. All right, so you
drone.
You take a game that's already happened. Instead of people can watch Super Bowl 4 or something like that on ESPN 18. Take that, get with the PlayStation guys or whoever makes the games, recreate the games in full 3D, and then allow the people to replay the game they just watched on headset in VR at level. So they can get down in the field, they can see the gaps that the guy ran through, because they're already tracking everybody's location. They're tracking speed.
Yeah.
Now imagine you can go, oh man, how did he make through that? Oh shoot, I put on my headset, I walked down to the field, and I say there was a huge gap between the center and the tight end. Oh, that's how he got there. It would be a cool kind of environment for seeing the game differently, maybe not watching it live, but I'd be interested to get down there. What the hell does Doug Flutie see? Oh shit, he just sees the back of people's heads. How the hell did he even play this game?
All this envisioning and what, like, this is what's going on now. Like, this is it's coming.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people are brainstorming this, and then someone's pricing this, and then someone's saying, well, what's our return on investment on that? Where's the technology? All right, that's day 2. What can we do day 1 right now? Okay, let's go to low-hanging
I
fruit.
would just be happy with a Madden VR game,
Okay.
You're actually on the field. So
that is coming. That is coming.
Yeah, that should have.
We're bringing this
out already.
I feel like that's where our next sports stars are coming for, like the next millennia.
Okay, I'm bringing this back to a geek topic, but we're in the same area. Don't worry.
Brooks is like, yes, sure.
So I was watching the documentary on the making of The Mandalorian. We're up to episode 4, I think.
Yeah,
so episode 4 is technology. So they were talking about George and creating the green screens and some of the problems they had with just making everything green screen. And one of the things they have now, and they started using for The Mandalorian, was basically this room with 360 degrees, like the ceiling, the floor, and all of the walls are all projection. So all of the backgrounds and everything are pre-created environments, and then they shoot live within the pre-created environment. So they can actually move the environment slightly if they want to. Instead of just making a green screen with a green rock, you have a pre-created environment that can be moved and adjusted with different camera angles.
That sounds like that's really helpful for the actors when they know what they're acting against, as opposed to before it's a big stick of green and you're trying to emote. That's why you get all the acting in the prequels, because it's not Hayden Christensen's fault. He's acting against a rock that's supposed to be Jar Jar Binks or whatever.
But this is the 360 environment that you can start seeing get expanded to other entertainment properties. Where so I walk into the ESPN part of the Disney Mall, and I can go and pretend to be Tom Brady at the Super Bowl because I have a 360 room that shows me, that the game I want to play in or I want to view or something like that.
That's a really interesting experience.
This is what I've been describing.
Right. I played video golf. It's pretty cool. I went down to Pebble Beach, and it was neat. It was a big projection screen. I mean, I didn't feel like I was there, but it started to get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, I can see how this starts to move around. And I think there's a lot of wedding of, okay, this technology over here, this idea over here, this want from customers over here, and we just gotta really start bringing them together to get some really cool stuff.
Dude, they can do it for basketball. They can have you setting as a free throw line with an actual game, with the actual fans. You can see them waving at you, and the crowd noise, and then the people in your block looking at you, giving you a little fist pump. That'd be great.
Oh, I'd love to make that.
And now you've got your 2K experience.
Oh, make that. Do the Jordan shot. Can you make the Jordan shot? You get the passed in the ball. Can you dribble to the foul line? Take your,
Take that, Craig Elo.
You got to push off. Got to remember to push off when you do it.
Yeah.
Now imagine technology easily pushed off to commerce. Like you can walk through a mall. There's already actually clothing companies that have apps, and you can scan yourself. So imagine walking through a digital Gap, your scanned clone, trying on clothes, and then having Amazon drones drop them off to your living room.
Oh,
That's where I feel like we've gone too far.
Okay, Grandma. Okay.
What was it? It was in it was a Tom Cruise movie. The one where the people saw the future crime.
Minority Report.
Minority Report.
Where he steals the eyeballs and he goes into the Gap and it scans the eyeballs and it knows exactly when the person was there last.
That I'm surprised isn't much sooner than what we're talking about. Because
Well,
we're talking about IoT
because
and tracking people.
Disney is doing this. They give everybody bracelets now.
The
I'm talking about bioorganic.
The
all these
coronavirus.
Facebook algorithms.
So they can put the tracking chip
coming.
in us with the vaccine and track us with the 5G towers, right? Isn't that what
All
they're
right.
trying to do?
How do we go so left wing?
Too far.
Jesus.
Now Facebook already knows what I purchase.
Yeah.
I have an ad immediately as soon as I buy something.
We are going to be on the grid, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not leaving the grid. It's too much good stuff.
It's a good way of looking at it.
I keep moving more and more north every year, so soon you won't find me.
North of the wall.
That's right.
This dude's about to do the wildlings.
Yeah.
No, he'll have an IP address even up there. He'll be running cable.
Yeah.
He won't be able to leave it behind.
Run some dark fiber with you up there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that was fun. I love speculating on future tech and uses of cool tech we've seen.
Yeah.
Do you
Same
guys?
here.
Do we have
When it
time to
comes
talk about
education.
Apokolips War?
I think so.
Let's
Justice
do it.
League?
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm
Brooks is
sorry,
like,
Brooks. I'm sorry, Keith. We are going to be talking about a Justice League animated movie, Apokolips War.
Cartoon? What?
That's right. So you're more than welcome to join us and make fun of us the whole time.
Justice League. We are facing an existential threat to the planet.
Okay, great.
It's for a cartoon. Was it PG-13 or rated R?
No, that's definitely R.
It was rated R. All right, so that's a rated R cartoon, by the way.
Yeah, most of
That doesn't make it better.
This already came out.
Yes.
Yes, it did a couple weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
You have access to it. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
so
Wait.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just came out this year. Justice League Apocalypse.
Yeah, it was
War.
in May, early May, I think.
Now DC Animation is classically for us a good animation studio. They always do a good job, not only with their animation but with the storylines, the voice acting.
Surprisingly better than Marvel, I have
Man,
to
Keith,
say.
Yeah.
who are you fighting right now?
He's Bane
Oh,
in
he's
the
trying to get
darkness
in
over
his
there.
house. Okay.
I thought he was building a door.
I thought he was in a pit.
Sorry, go ahead, Chris. Sorry to cut you off.
So the movie follows the I almost said Avengers. Sorry, guys.
The Justice League.
It
Even I
follows
know that's wrong.
oh,
Whoa, we got you far.
Yeah,
You graduated.
It's
That's right.
It's a Justice League Dark movie, right?
yeah, it's a Justice League Dark movie, which means it includes the magic side of the DC universe, which is John Constantine, Zatanna. I was surprised I didn't see any.
Swamp Man was in there, was it? Oh,
Swamp
he
Man's
was.
there.
Swamp
Yeah,
Thing
he was
in there.
but he wasn't part of the
Right.
No.
But this included everybody: Teen Titans, Suicide Squad, the whole shebang. Everybody was there for Apocalypse War.
So for Brooks, Apocalypse is DC's version of Thanos. However,
Got it.
historically, Darkseid was created before
Came
Thanos
out
by
first.
the same creator, Jim Starlin.
Mhm.
So the Marvel fanboys and the DC fanboys or fangirls, they always dispute that part. So Darkseid was their version of Thanos.
Did the same person create both?
Yes, within a year apart.
Basically, he went over to another company and created something called the New Gods, which is because he was like, "Hey, I just created these cool things, and I went to a new company, and I'm going to create some more cool things." And yeah, as long as they're slightly different, it doesn't really matter. Kids will read it. Not that oversimplifies it, but that's basically the idea. I mean, if you look between superheroes in DC and Marvel, you're going to find people who basically match here and there with some slight differences. But anyway, so the movie is that the Justice League, or Superman specifically, decides he's got to kill Apokolips, go to Apokolips and kill Darkseid to stop war, I guess. You just kill him. And they get their butts kicked.
Right there, that was unusual. I don't know if it's unusual.
Yeah, there is.
See Superman come on.
Without the death of Lois
It was.
Lane, yes, and then
It was.
going
For
Yeah.
every version of Superman we've seen in the last couple of years of the DC animated universe, it was very off kilter for
Yeah.
Superman to be erratic, irrational,
Mhm.
and not listening to anyone else saying, let's rethink this.
Right.
So, but I watched it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't. Superman isn't even the main character of the Dark Universe.
Right.
It's always John Constantine, basically, is your main protagonist. Outside maybe Batman. But in this case, it definitely is John Constantine. So I don't know, Brooks, if you've ever seen it. Constantine has had a movie starring
Keanu
Reeves.
The better actor than Chris Hemsworth.
I was just about to say the lesser
No.
active than Chris Hemsworth. And a
He had an NBC show
TV show on NBC.
with an actor who actually was so well at that role, CW took over the same character and used the same actor.
Mhm.
That show is also available to you.
Got it. I did not.
All right. So
One day.
basically the heroes go and they get their butts kicked. Superman gets left alive to suffer with kryptonite, a kryptonite S, basically liquid kryptonite in his veins, so he can't do anything.
Well, before you get there, he has to know what happened. They get kicked. Their asses get kicked.
So
Yeah.
people get ripped apart,
Wonder
limbs
Woman.
removed,
Yeah, it's like
eyes
Infinity
gouged out.
War, but rated R.
But a cartoon.
But
As a cartoon.
Okay, got
animated.
it.
Yeah.
Animated, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like now animation,
That's right. Don't call my action figures dolls, right?
Right.
So go ahead, Chris. Sorry, I cut you off there.
Well, we're not going to go through the whole. The storyline is basically the Justice League gets their butts kicked, and we start this to come back by using the magic players of the universe. So Raven is a Teen Titans character, and she is holding within her father, who is a giant demon, and she basically keeps him at bay within herself. And so she's trying not to let her father out and not to overuse her demonic powers. John Constantine is trying to drink himself to death because he thinks he let them down because he ran away from the fight. And all the other heroes, a lot of them are missing, a couple are alive, but basically can't do anything. And so the story follows the last-ditch effort of these bad guys who would normally be bad guys in the universe, the Suicide Squad. Harley Quinn, you know Harley Quinn, I'm assuming?
I've heard of her.
Harley Quinn.
That was nice. I heard of her. I've heard
Lois
something.
Lane and Lex Luthor are pretty heavy characters in this. So let's start with violence. So what did you guys think of the action violence of the movie?
Well, I watched this one with my son, Eric, a podcast favorite here at Heroes Peak Podcast. And he was taken aback from the very beginning when the siege on Apokolips's world went terrible. With I forgot who DC get killed first, who got their arms ripped apart. He's like, "Oh, we're going there now." Those are the exact words. And he was like, "No, nothing but Wonder Woman and Batman to him. He didn't want anyone else to get hurt but Wonder Woman and Batman." So
wait, he wanted Wonder Woman and Batman to get hurt?
The only people that he wanted to be kept safe was Wonder Woman and Batman.
Okay. Why?
That's all he cared about. Those are two favorite characters.
Okay.
Right.
So seeing how he was reacting, I realized, yeah, they're really going for it. And at the time, I didn't know the entire storyline, and I didn't know the purpose of this was to rewrite the DC animation moving forward. So I was still looking for a glimmer of positivity and maybe scaling back the darkness.
You weren't getting any of that.
I was not getting any of that. It went worse and worse and worse. It was very, very dark to a point where I don't think anybody under 13 technically should have been watching it, especially when Suicide Squad was introduced. But yeah, my first thoughts was very dark and very graphic.
Yeah, the fist fight between Harley Quinn and Lois Lane was with Captain Boomerang calling some shit out. That was kind of funny. Mike, were you surprised
by the violence?
Yeah.
No, I was kind of expecting it. Like it's a dark movie, so I always figured it's going to be exactly that, a little darker than the regular Justice League, right?
Yeah.
So, I was a little surprised at the amount of that they got their asses handed to them in the beginning, right? So, other than that, it didn't faze me. It didn't surprise me really. I was excited by it. I look forward to it. Made it a better movie out of the gate than the DCFU version. So.
Yeah, my two sons watched it and they were just like, "Oh wow, I wasn't expecting that." When one of the Robins got run through, Nightwing got run through the chest.
All right.
And Shazam.
Yeah.
Shazam basically sacrificed himself.
Yeah. That one actually, my son, he got the feelings for. He's like soldier. He did a little chest thing.
All right.
He went down like a soldier.
All right, so we're gonna go storyline. So the storyline, I don't think the DC universe kind of does this on occasion. They basically destroy the entire universe, do the worst things possible, and then you kind of know the ending. They kind of a free out. And that is the Flash. The Flash is basically a freebie. They can do whatever the hell they want with their universe and then employ the Flash.
Yeah.
Go fix it. Hey, Flash, go let your mother get killed again and fix everything.
Right.
I want a movie where the
Flash is like Doctor Strange with a time stone, but really fast too.
Thank you.
And the whole universe basically depends on his mother's murder. So whenever he goes back to try to save his mother, the world goes to shit.
Yeah.
So every time he has to fix the world, he has to go back and allow his mother to get murdered.
Get killed. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what happened in the last one when Wonder Woman and Aquaman were fighting, and that whole thing. That all happened because that was the actual Flashpoint.
Flashpoint?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I want one movie where Flash goes, "No, you guys screw off. I'm not killing my mother again."
Yeah.
Universe be damned.
That would be a more interesting movie because he basically soldiers up at the end every time.
But then it would just end because everybody would die, right? After.
Well, I mean, it's usually like 20 years after the event, everybody gets superpowers, but everybody's a shittier person for it. That's basically the DC universe.
All right, I think I'm going to stick to Marvel. Thank you.
That's great.
Probably the best we've seen him play thus far.
Thanks, Keith.
Keith, we're gonna get sued, man.
That was him saying that the Flash was doing his best he can.
Yeah, better than the movie.
Yeah.
All right, so the other part of, I guess in general, if they're going to reset the DC animated universe, where are they going? I mean, I haven't done any New 52. I know even that's really old. So
Yeah,
I
that's
haven't
old
done
now. Yeah.
any of the new stuff. So where is DC going to go after they reset their entire universe?
This is me thinking. Maybe they're gonna try to link their film and TV universe characters now with a new DC animated animation.
How's that work?
No, like the characters that you're seeing on like Birds of Prey,
Yeah.
Arrow, Supergirl, that version of Flash on the TV shows. Kind of like how Marvel Avengers replicated the MCU Avengers somewhat. Obviously, different actors, but
Right.
like their character beats and traits, like it was mimicked on the animation level.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're gonna try to do because these characters in DC we've been watching go back 10 years with some changes here and there. They don't marry to anything we've seen in the movies. You know, not even Superman.
Hmm.
So I think maybe they're looking to follow Marvel's as they always are, follow Marvel's formula, and trying to start connecting their popular characters first, right? They probably have to start with the TV show, probably start with, and as far as the film universe, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam, and get those characters in like standalone animated movies with hints of the bigger animation universe that exists without seeing those characters. And then when after the Snyder cut or whatever it is, then they can start doing a more multiverse version of the animation universe to match their TV and film properties. They might do Teen Titans, like a one-off movie that they can't do in the TV show. They might do Doom Patrol, since Mike is always beating us in the head about Doom Patrol.
It's a good show. Give it a chance.
Yeah, sure, buddy, sure. So,
Also available to you.
sorry. So that was my first thought, because after the show ended and I did my deep dive on the internet, that's when I realized this was it. This was the culmination of the entire universe, and I was like, well, what the hell for? I mean, they're better than the competitors' TV animated shows. Like, what's the purpose? And then I started noodling a little bit, and I'm like, oh, maybe this is the powers that be, AT&T and Warner Brothers saying, let's follow this Marvel formula. Let's get these animated shows to link up with our TV and film shows and the characters that seems to be doing well. I don't know. This is just me, my thoughts on that one.
What's weird is I never linked the individual DC movies to each other. I didn't think they were a single universe. I thought they were just like one shots. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if they're saying that they're all sort of linked together, and they do get a lot of the same voice actors and the animators are consistent, I can see that.
And look how tough the Batman ones were. The Batman series of anime, it was like maybe 50 different storylines in the Batman animated series that you can't say there's any sort of real continuity with the Batman character from one movie to the next.
Right.
They all seem like standalones with the exception of very few of them. So maybe they're really putting their horse to the carriage of Robert Pattinson, creating a version of this that's going to be very well loved, and then they can start creating him moving forward and steady continuity shows. I don't know.
Yeah, because they never cast anyone who says animated Batman to me. You know what I mean? Like, none of the live action Batman have ever met to the level of what these DC animated Batmen are more like. Yeah. Am I?
No, you're right. That square jaw, broad shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even just the body type, but like the personalities
right? Yeah.
It never seems to line up quite the same.
I don't know.
But
except for George Clooney.
Yeah, I can see he's got that debonair rich man. That debonair rich man look and voice.
Yeah, I think we could fan cast a couple of pretty good Batman options. I'm surprised of what I'll be interested to see. I'll give Pattinson a chance, but I don't know what he's bringing to the table.
He's not working out at all, so that's gonna be interesting.
Well, we'll see him in Tenet.
Really? Is that true?
We'll see him in Tenet first. I think
you think he's trolling us?
I think he's trolling. He loves to troll. He loved to troll the what's the werewolf vampire movie fan?
Twilight.
He
Yeah.
trolled them all the time. He hated those things as far as I
If
can.
this dude comes on screen and I feel like I have a better body than him when I'm on keto, I'm done with that Batman universe.
Ah,
So, all right. So, okay, here's a question for you. A lot of the Marvel cartoons and media started to interact with the MCU style and character styles as well, right? The one character between DC in DC that has never changed with the popular actor who is now portraying him is Aquaman. They have
Oh,
failed to, except Lego. Lego actually threw a little Aquaman bone in there, but they have not done any sort of a Jason Momoa-esque Aquaman, even though he made $1 billion and showed some popularity.
talking about in the animated versions?
Nothing
there's still-
animated.
Yeah, he's still like a redhead, or is it?
No, he's the blonde
he was
dude.
blonde once, then he was
Yeah.
kind of redhead another time.
It's just I just find that funny. Of all the characters, he's never got any. Momoa's never gotten any love.
But there was
from
a
the
comic
DC
version
animated.
of him that kind of looked like him, wasn't there back like a few years ago?
No, they all just
I
had
don't know
long
about
hair.
that one. Yeah, I don't
It
know
was
about
just
that
the
one.
long hair. That was
Yeah,
it.
okay, that could be it.
Well, we can see his version of him in the new DC animated universe.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, James.
Because
that
you're
they
right, he
could.
made $1 billion. Like, how are you
Right.
gonna ignore this dude?
That's
And
cool.
I'd like to see the animation go, hey, let's use the fact that these are popular, the new this new Wonder Woman, this new Aquaman, Shazam. Let's kind of bridge these gaps and bring people who like the movies over to the animated side.
Yeah, and you would think Momoa and like Zach Levi they would gladly do the animated
They would voice act, yeah.
voices. Yeah. So
You know, it still amazes me before the Jason Momoa version. Everyone who knew anything about even who casual cartoon and comic book fans, the Aquaman was always the weakest of the
He
Justice
was.
League.
Because he was.
You know, if you were like the worst rapper in your crew,
can
they would
thank-
call you Aquaman.
no, that's because you can thank what was the 70s cartoon?
Super Friends.
Super Friends.
Thank Super Friends for that one.
And he's splashing around the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Riding
remember,
the
I remember they were
dolphins.
calling
I
the
need
you
my
god from
seahorse.
Wu-Tang Aquaman.
Yeah.
Aquaman's a Proswell. He's the
You
Proswell of that
see,
group.
another example. Like
Yeah.
it was a running joke, and then this dude comes out, makes $1 billion, and people are like, "Okay, looks like Flash is the weakest one of your crew now."
It's
Yeah.
just, he's really hot. That's why.
Right. Well, Aquaman comes out and beats Batman and Superman. Just so.
Because he's hot.
Right.
No, not because he's hot. Stop.
Purely topical.
Why?
But it's not like Henry Cavill's ugly, so I don't think it's just how
But he
Yeah, but his version of Aquaman, he was like, he was just like, you
My
felt
man.
like he was a my man. Like, you didn't see the blonde one in the cartoon show acting like that.
But
Right.
That was a reimagined Aquaman.
But that brings out a different type of hero than the classic. Like Aquaman being a Superman in the water is kind of boring. Maybe he's got a little rougher around the edges. That's kind of
But he
boring.
has some fish to go save.
Right. Coming out and being Jason Momoa, and maybe he's just a Jason Momoa of the sea with superpowers, is more interesting to the average audience than seeing a repeat of things they've seen a million times. I mean, they're not going to make a Namor movie, even though the MCU is kicking ass.
Maybe.
Namor is going to be in a movie,
Yes.
but they're
He's-
not going
I
to
think-
make a Namor movie.
Well,
Yeah.
depending how well he
I
does
don't
in Black
know.
Panther 2, if they put him in Black
know.
Panther 2 and he does well, he's going to get his
Mhm.
own movie.
Okay, I'm going to bring this all the way around.
Especially if they cast him as an Asian actor.
I'm going to
With
bring
an
this
Asian
all the way
Mhm.
around to our beginning.
I was just about to say that it's a perfect opportunity for Asian infused artists.
So one of the things I'm seeing after this Snyder Cut crap is all of a sudden they think that Marvel, like nobody's quote unquote interested in Marvel anymore because Robert Downey Jr. is gone and all the main characters are gone. And I'm actually thinking that is something I don't think it's true. I think Marvel is about to hit a second stride, as long as they can get. I think they're going to bring in the audiences, but they got new characters who have new life. I don't think you can get 6 Iron Man movies out of Robert Downey Jr. I mean, you sort of already did, but I mean, 6 more. I don't think you could do another Phase 1, 2, and 3 with Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. I think casting new heroes with new people is a smarter move for Marvel than just trying to live the glory days. It's like Apple bringing out the iPhone and killing the iPod.
Yeah.
You don't try to make a second iPod.
But I'm pretty sure that
Make
Marvel
something
was
better.
already doing that. They're already pivoting during this last phase 3, on bringing out the new characters. Once they got Tom Holland, that was a huge bonus
Right.
for them too, Spider-Man. But Captain Marvel,
Guardians
who
of the
else?
Galaxy.
Guardians of the
I'm sure
Galaxy.
Chadwick is going to do like 2 or 3 more at least.
And then there's offshoots from his universe and his world that you can bring into. I think they already started pivoting in Phase 3, and just wanted to also close out the OGs and the last 2 Avengers movies.
I mean, we got to see what the Eternals brings, right?
Eternals.
Yeah, I mean, they had all this stuff. They had this
Shang-
stuff already in the can. They just
Right.
didn't feel confident yet to announce it. Now they do, because they did $3 billion in the last Avengers movie.
And I think they're going to bring in bigger audiences. I mean, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Black Widow. I mean, Black Widow's going to do money.
As long as they don't hire anybody from the Iron Fist production staff and as a motherfucking record label company to do anything in Shang-Chi, I have confidence it'll do well.
All right, well, that's our opinions for the day. Anybody else have any last minute words for the world?
I
we sign
have
off?
one thing.
Go
to
ahead,
say.
Brooks.
Last week was James's birthday, so I just want to say happy birthday.
Aww,
Oh, happy
I forgot
birthday.
already. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me I'm old.
Yeah, I posted on Instagram. You're 74, so.
Oh, yeah,
look
you
great
did,
for
you son of a
74,
gun.
It's looking so
You could have
good.
posted at least a photo of Cat when he came back in Endgame. At least that would have been better. You put some old dude looks like he came from the Phantasm movies. Caroline!
Yeah.
So happy birthday. Thank you for bringing that up, Brooks. 'cause
Thank you.
I forgot too.
Bring me that time stone.
All right. Well, that's it for the night. Thank you, everybody, for joining me again. I think we had a great couple of different conversations, and I want to see some of that money ESPN.
We keep giving away these free ideas, man. We gotta stop.
Oh.
I got to get
I'm just gonna
hired
start
somebody.
bleeping them out. I'm just gonna start censoring them.
That's right.
Yeah, we should.
Or some
I'll set up
capital.
I'll set up a paywall. So if you want to hear this idea, send us $10.
We'll call ourselves Bloomberg Business Podcast.
Mhm.
All right, guys.
Good
You
night,
have a
everybody.
good night. Thank you
Good
very
night.
much.
Good night,
Yep.
everyone.
All right.
Cheers.